Hello everyone, welcome to the sixth video of Module 2, and here I am going to discuss about one of my personal favorite concept in Python known as f-string. So we're going to talk about what are these f-strings, how to use them and when should we use them. And by the end of this video I'll also be talking about what is the concept of string concatenation and how you can achieve it with the help of f-string as well. So let's get into it. Let's try to do something really unique with the strings. Okay, it's going to be some kind of a magic. Let's try to go ahead and explore what I'm talking about. But before that, I can also call this as basic data types. This is looking a very big name. I'll just change this to basic data types. Okay, I'm going to change this to basic data types. Okay, and these data types are what? Strings, float and integers. These are the data types that we have discussed about. Now I'm going to talk about f strings. Okay, I'm going to talk about f strings. Okay, now what does this mean? For example, let's say I want to print some kind of a statement which is saying that how many moons does a Jupiter have. Okay, so let's say I'm trying to print a statement. Now because I want to print a statement, I'm going to give it within a quotation that planet Jupiter has, or not Jupiter, I should say Saturn, because I'm looking forward for Saturn, not Jupiter. So planet Saturn has 146 moons. The reason I would choose Saturn is because I've just looked onto Google that currently as of June 2023, there are 146 moons that have been confirmed for our planet Saturn. Right? So I'm writing this detail as of now. Now, as you might be knowing that as the astronomers are having much and much more information about this kind of gaseous giants that we are having in our solar system, they are keeping on updating the values of the moons once they are discovering new moons, right? So now what happens in future if we want to update this kind of values? Let's say we found out that Saturn is now not having 146 moons, instead it's having 150 moons, right? So I'll have to manually change this value to 150 to print this kind of thing, right? So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a variable called as Saturn moons. Okay, and I'm also going to change the name of the planet. I'm also going to store that. What if I want to print the information for a different planet, right? So I'm also going to store this thing as a name of planet, and I'll change this not Saturn moons, let's say moons of planet, something like this. Whatever makes sense to you, give a very good name so that if anyone is reading it, everyone is able to make a sense of what's going on. So name planet moons planet. So I can give the name of this planet as Saturn as of now, and I can give that currently it's having 146 moons. Now what I want to do is I want to print the variable as it is. If I'm changing this variable, the print statement should automatically change. Okay. For example, if I want to replace this Saturn with this variable, what I need to write is I need to write name planet. Similarly over here, I will change this thing to moons planet. But now if you notice, if I run this, it's going to print the same thing as it is. It's going to print the same thing as it is. Right? It's going to print the name underscore planet and moons underscore planet instead of this Saturn 146. What is the reason behind that? It is because we are not giving any sort of an information to the string that, hey, you need to take the information from this variable and not print literally the string that we are giving over here. So that's the purpose of f strings. You are giving f over here and then writing this thing within this kind of curly braces. Okay, I'm giving all the variables that might change into this curly braces. And now if I run this, you can see that planet Saturn has 146 moons. Now let's say in future if this changes to 150, you can see that planet Saturn has 150 moons. You don't have to go to, let's say I'm having multiple print statements with this planets Saturn with moons of planet Saturn basically, with multiple print statements. I don't need to manually go ahead and change this 150, 150, 150. Okay, I just need to make a change to this variable, and everywhere else in the code it will automatically be updated to 150 because we are having the change in the variable. That's something you need to keep in mind. That's the power of f strings. That's completely a magic. Okay. It is also used like, if you want to, let's say, uh, concatenate two strings, if you want to join two different strings, even then you can use this kind of f strings. There are multiple methods, but let's stick to a very specific method because this is a universal method that always works. So let's stick to this particular method. I can also give a name over here, describing the code. I should say comment, not name, and I should describe it like uh, understanding the power of f strings, right? Over here also I could have given this kind of comment, checking the type of variables. Obviously for me, I already know what kind of this kind of things is, but for someone who is a beginner, who is going to look into this kind of notebooks, for them to understand what are the things that we are doing over here, right? Anytime, let's say in future, they're going to get referring to this particular notebook, they want to know what they have done over here. So for that, we are giving comments that this is displaying the data values for each variables. So this kind of comments are always recommended. You can go ahead and give this kind of variables, some kind of comments. Okay. All right. So now let's talk about string concatenation. What is the spelling of concatenation? Let me check. It's string concatenation, right? I am very bad with spellings. But yeah, coming back to this thing. Now let's see if I'm having two strings. Okay. That Earth is the only planet with life. Let's say I'm going to store it in a string one variable, and I'm going to have this kind of either double quotation or a single quotation, and I'm going to store Earth is the only planet with life. Okay. And after this, I'm giving another statement, string 2, or maybe not, maybe not, right? Something like this. So if I want to print and attach these strings together, I want to create a statement out of this. Now there are again multiple ways that you can do. A very straightforward way would be to join them with the help of plus operator. I can have print of my string 1 plus string 2, and now if I run this, it's going to create a error because if you can see, I have written string 2 without the underscore. Now if I give underscore and run this, now it's saying that Earth is the only planet with life with full stop, but now there is no space in between. So for that, you can create one more string in between string 1 and string 2, that is the space string. This was a string, this is also a string, and this is also a string, right? And now you can see that thanks to that space, we are having the space between this first sentence and the second sentence. You could have also achieved this by having a manual space over here and then write string 1 plus string 2, and that is fine. But now let's say if I want to do it with the help of f strings, how can I do it? Very simple. I'm calling my string 1 variable and then string 2 variable with a space in between. Again, it's going to run into an error because of the underscore. So yes, that's how it's going to work. How we can do it with the help of f string, right? We will look into its power as we advance our program in order to go ahead and do astronomical visualization and analysis. But for now, this is how you can play around with the f strings. And now in the next particular video, we'll be discussing about a new concept altogether, that is how you can get an input from the user in Python. Alright guys, so that's it about this particular video over here. And I hope that I was able to make you fall in love with this beautiful concept of string formatting with f strings. If not, don't worry. By the end of this program, you will realize the actual power of using the f strings in your code. Alright. Now in the next video, what we are going to do is we are going to talk about a concept of how you can take inputs from a user. Let's say if you are willing to get some kind of an data and if you want to assign some kind of variable to it, then how you can create some kind of a prompt through which users can give you some kind of input and then you can store it into your particular variable. All these kind of things you will be seeing in the next video. So again, yes, stay tuned for that.